In our headlines, Nevis International Banking Amendment Bill 2024 passed the Nevis Island Assembly, and the Lift SKN Programme prioritizes support for vulnerable families. Across the region, Biden Immigration Program offers legal status to 500,000 spouses of U.S. citizens. Details of these and other stories, sports and the weather update are all part of this edition of the Nevis Newscast. Stay tuned. Welcome to the Nevis Newscast for Wednesday, June 19th, 2024. I'm Donis Wilkinson-Keynes. The Nevis International Banking Amendment Bill 2024 was passed in the Nevis Island Assembly on Tuesday, June 18th. The bill introduced amendments to the Nevis International Banking Ordinance, which provides the statutory and regulatory environment that underpins the emerging international banking sector.
The evolution of the international banking sector requires that a vigilant and responsive regulator be provided with the statutory framework for properly supervising the sector. The bill seeks to address some hurdles to adequate oversight and to respond to some suggestions from the banks themselves regarding the licensing process. Madam President, as we seek to enhance our position as a reliable and effective international financial services center, Nevis has begun to attract international banks. We therefore must be alert to ensure that our regulatory architecture meets not only global best practice standards, but also keeps us competitive enough to attract new entities. Indeed, as the Minister of Finance outlined in his budget address, we have grown from 3 international banks to 6 licensed entities in the last 6 months. Therefore, Madam President, the imperative for enhancing our regulatory capability is clearly established.
Amendments were made to sections 2, 8, 9, 12, 15, 20, 22, 34, and 35 of the parent legislation.
This amendment bill, Madam President, provides for the proposed amendments which were submitted by the Financial Services Regulation and Supervision Department and on behalf of the regulator of international banks, and has been crafted after consultation with the international banking sector. The amendments reflect changes that were necessary to cure certain deficiencies or correct loopholes in the principal ordinance, with a view to ensuring stricter compliance by the international banks, but also to introduce a new and, we think, highly satisfactory measure as regards the licensing process. Madam President, I am assured by our legal and financial advisors that these amendments will position Nevis favorably, both in terms of our attractiveness as well as a well-regulated but user-friendly international banking center. We have crafted these amendments with both the international regulatory requirements and commercial practicabilities in mind, and we have consulted with our regulated entities to ensure that we have achieved that fine balance that is required to maintain cutting-edge status that has seen us emerge as a stable and as a reliable partner to our service providers.
In the absence of Premier and the Minister of Finance, the Honourable Mark Brantley, Deputy Premier and member for Nevis 3, the Honourable Eric Evelyn, moved the bill's second and third readings. A new phase of the Livelihood Improvement for Family Transformation Lift SKN Programme began on Monday, June 17th, providing ongoing access for new applicants. The LIFT program prioritizes support for unemployed heads of families, single-parent families, persons with disabilities, and senior citizens 62 years and older, with eligibility based on an income threshold of $2,500 per month. Approved beneficiaries will receive support for up to 24 months with possible extensions.
The LIFT program that is done through the federal government, the first phase of that program where they re-verified all the previous recipients on the PAP program, that re-verification process ended on the 31st of May. So if you were on the program, you were given all the notices to re-verify through Von Radio. The staff at social services would have engaged those who were on file and assisted who needed that assistance. So now we have the LIFT program. The same program is now open for new registrants. So now is the time that if you feel that you meet the requirements of the individuals who we are trying to target, you go and you check for the requirements, of course. Make sure that everything is honest and in order, and you can apply with also the assistance of our team at Social Services, who is willing to assist those who might have some challenges with the technical process.
The Honourable Janet Nisbet, Minister of Social Development in the Nevis Island Administration. Still to come.
I have deliberately, Madam President, brought this here in Parliament this morning because I want our people to be mindful of the fact that this is coming.
We'll give you the details after this break.
Celebrating culture, embracing history. It's Culturama 50. It's our heritage, that's how we live. Come fed with us for the 50th. We're doing it big. Pulsating sounds, masquerading clowns. String band and big drum will be taking over town. Cause we're celebrating culture, embracing history. It's Culturama 50. Nevis Culturama will celebrate its 50th anniversary from July 25th to August 6th, 2024. Come join us. Celebrating culture, embracing history. It's Culturama 50. Celebrating culture, embracing history. It's Culturama 50. Yeah.
Welcome back. The Honourable Spencer Brand on Tuesday, June 18th, outlined the three phases for the implementation of the ban on single-use plastics in St. Kitts and Nevis. This follows the announcement of the ban by Federal Minister of Environment, the Honourable Dr. Joel Clark, during a sitting of the National Assembly on March 26th.
On the 31st of December 2024, there is the proposed ban on the importation of single-use plastics. On the 31st of March 2025, there is a proposed ban on the sale and distribution of single-use plastic. And the second phase, Madam President, the 30th of April 2025, there is the proposed ban on importation of styrofoam, plastic food containers, plastic straws, etc., etc. On the 31st of July 2025, there is the proposed ban and distribution of styrofoam, plastic food containers, plastic straws, etc. And Madam President, on the 31st of August 2025, there is a proposed ban on the importation of single-use plastics, cups, plates, utensils, etc., etc.
The Honourable Spencer Brand made the statement as Minister of Physical Planning and Environment during a sitting of the Nevis Island Assembly.
I have deliberately, Madam President, brought this here in Parliament this morning because I want our people to be mindful of the fact that this is coming. I want our people to appreciate, Madam President, that while we continue to promote a cleaner, more environmentally friendly nation, that there will have to be some radical changes, Madam President, in our thinking when it comes to this kind of material that we import into our federation. I want to say to our people to prepare themselves, be guided accordingly, and ensure that you take the necessary steps to be so guided.
Minister Brand noted that the NIA's Department of Physical Planning and Environment, in collaboration with the Environmental Health Services Division, will continue to update the public with regard to the ban on single-use plastics in St. Kitts and Nevis. And finally, President of the Nevis Island Assembly, the Honorable Michelle Slock Clark, is inviting young persons to join the Nevis Youth Parliament. Joining the Nevis Youth Parliament offers an opportunity to be a voice for the youth and promote positive change in the society.
You may have heard our recent call for applications for persons between the ages of 15 and 28 who are interested in joining the Nevis Youth Parliament. That information was circulated for a few weeks, and the deadline for receipt of applications is this Friday, 21st June 2024. Application forms may be collected from the Legislature Office at the Johnson Jones Building on Government Road. So we encourage everyone between the ages of 15 to 28 who are interested to submit your applications to become a part of the Nevis Youth Parliament.
Coming up in the regional news segment, British woman reportedly commits suicide inside Negril Police Station in Jamaica. The details after this break.